Good morning and good evening or good day to all of you, and thank you very much for joining us for our pre-full moon garden visualization in Aries. Let's continue, friends, to build our healing garden as a group at some point within the 12 hours prior to each full moon. Meeting DK there and turning our garden into a shrine of consecration, and intending to offer our garden as a chalice for the love of hierarchy to be poured in selfless service to humanity. So let's gather in our garden. But before we do so, let us start with a brief alignment. So start with a point of soul focus. Raise your consciousness into the head, as high in the head as you can. And now carry that consciousness upward through the astral body, a poised, tranquil and calm astral body. And now carry it through the mental body and see it as a one-pointed and very focused mental body. And now visualize a lotus fully opened, scintillating with light and pulsating like a heart, as a symbol of your soul body. And now picture yourself right in the center of your lotus, and realize that you, the personality, and you, the soul, are one. And from that point, definitely and consciously assume the attitude of the observer. Observe your personality below and visualize your etheric body and see energy flowing freely up and down the etheric spine. And now consciously throw soul energy down into the center at the base of the spine using indigo blue light. And now raise it slowly via the 5 centers up the etheric spine, then to the ajna, then to the crown, and back up to the soul body. And say the soul mantra with conviction, knowing who you really are. I am the soul. I am light divine. I am will. I am love. I am fixed design. And sound one Om as if you were the soul. And now let us walk into our garden. At the entrance we stroll through arches of climbing roses, clusters of flowers in abundance overhead. and choose the color or the colors you like. Let the roses gently caress your face, as if welcoming you to this sacred space. Breathe in the delicate aromas of the cascading, colorful roses percolating through the air, and small, lovingly trimmed emerald green bushes line the stony pathway, and hear the crunch of the tiny stones under your feet. Along an embankment at the end of the archway, there are rows and rows of flowers, flowers of different hues and harmonizing tones of reds and yellows and pink, all sorts of colors. And as we create these rows, we include our favorite flowers. The blooms shed fresh petals on the path, creating a soft carpet for us to walk on, releasing their individual fragrances as we step on them. On the opposite side of the embankment, we see right in the middle of our space of harmony a lighthouse, standing tall and strong, shining beams of light in all directions as a symbol of our united group soul. And as we assemble there quietly, we hear a choir of birds fill the space with their clear and melodious notes, welcoming us to this unique space. A chorus of angelic voices sing a soft tune, accompanied by the sound of harps, divas gently strumming the chords. Sitting still around the lighthouse, we feel the gentle warmth of the rays of the sun on our face, on our chest, on our backs. And in the background, the breeze softly swishing through the tall eucalyptus trees chants a melodic lullaby. These majestic trees cast their protective shadows on the grass as sunlight peeps through this peaceful garden. Around the lighthouse, we see a large, quiet pool of crystal clear waters. Flowing from the pool, we see rivulets as we hear the gentle trickle of water. We also see 3 wider streams of golden water flowing steadily. Across them are curved wooden bridges. In one area of the pool float lotuses of all colors in all stages of bloom. Some are in full bloom, revealing their gorgeous jewel, while others are just budding and barely showing their true color, all reflecting their light in the healing waters. Just beyond the pool, a hidden path leads to a cozy and serene corner. A few chairs or a bench and a small fountain containing supercharged, vitalizing water, perfumed by a single floating lotus, create the perfect spot for an informal sharing of one's difficulties or words of wisdom. Inhale the perfume of the flowers imbuing the air, as everything in this garden quivers with livingness. And you can bring in people that you'd like to receive healing. Bring them in to this gorgeous and healing corner. In the distance, we hear the soothing sound of water, and we follow it. We come to a tranquil pool where cascading water gently hugs rocks as it joyfully spills in a blue pool, while bubbles of spray ricochet spiritedly in the air. Lush ferns alongside the rocks, draping in the water, enhance the serenity of the place, while the fiery brilliance of the orange and red leaves of surrounding trees brings warmth and invigorating energy to the area. In our mind's eye, we follow a pathway which leads us to flower beds. They are a riot of spring color, reds and creams and yellows and pinks of such vibrancy, winding their way like a gentle, living stream amongst the trees. A row of violet flowers on either side of the meandering bed happily follows the path of the flowers as they release their subtle perfume. Butterflies flutter through the air with their iridescent wings, attracted by the silent serenade of the blooms. They are like the flowers of the air. Their delicate and fragile wings are like floating petals, catching the light and twinkling like diamonds in the air. Buzzing bees surf the open spaces from flower to flower, seeking pollen. The pollen looks like scintillating, bright, golden pixie dust. Nearby, the soft and gentle babble of the sound of the fountains reach our ears. Lush green grass lines a gentle stream like a soft, velvety carpet. And the air is full of the sweet fragrance of the flowers in full bloom, adorning the fringes of the streams in this tranquil garden, quivering with life. This garden that we have just created is our garden, our group garden. But let's take a moment to add a little corner which has our individual touch. Add the colors, the unique features, and flora of your own country that you'd like to blossom in our serene space. Let's now invite the presence and the cooperation of the healing devas working under the Christ. Visualize them in our garden, enlivening it with their magnetism. And now sitting quiescent, our hearts beating as one. Let's link up with each other as we say the healer's mantra aloud together. With purity of motive, inspired by a loving heart, we offer ourselves for this work of healing. This offer we make as a group. And to the ones we seek to heal. We open our inner eyes, endeavoring to hold our mind unwaveringly in the group light. We know that Master DK too stands steady, pouring out upon us his love and strength, and endeavoring to lift us up into a higher state of consciousness. We are now receptive to Master DK's radiant energy. The light of the lighthouse begins to shine brighter and brighter, intensifying gradually. And soon the light begins to take shape and a definite figure appears. We can now visualize Master DK. So let us be impressed by powerful waves of cosmic purpose emanating from Master DK at the summit of our lighthouse, streaming through our harmonious group, irradiating the garden around us and imbuing it with energies of regeneration and creation. Let's listen intuitively to the Master's words and let them quench our thirst for deeper comprehension of the Lord's purpose. DK tells us to have clearly in our minds the three groups of spiritual energies which at the time of the 3 full moons of April, May and June will be released into activity and which will aid in its major task of rebuilding the new and better world. The unique opportunity which confronts the Christ as his great hour draws near is that of unifying, synthesizing, and integrating all these forces into one great and potent downpouring of spiritual energy. And these involve the activities of the spirit of resurrection at the April full moon, the inspiration of the Buddha as he conveys the strength of the one in whom we live and move and have our being at Taurus full moon, and the forces of reconstruction at the June full moon. So therefore, it is essential that we try to grasp the unity of this hierarchical effort in these three great spiritual festivals. So let's start with the first one. Let's begin with Aries. Aries is the sign of beginnings, the beginning of the creative process, the first step of the soul into incarnation, the beginning and recurring and constant cycles of experience, the beginning of the period wherein the soul changes its direction, its purpose, and its methods, and finally enters into that process of spiritual regeneration and initiation. Aries is one of the constellations of the cardinal cross of the heavens. This is the cross of God, the Father, and therefore of the incarnating monad. It is the expression of will and power as it expresses itself through the great creative process. Aries is the sign through which the first ray of will and power reaches our planetary life. There is a close relationship between Aries and Shambhala because it is the will of the Father aspect manifesting through Aries that governs Shambhala. There are 4 keywords that express the nature of the Lord of Aries, influencing our planetary logos. 1. Express the will to be and do. 2. Unfold the power to manifest. 3. Enter into battle for the Lord. And 4. Arrive at unity through effort. So creation, being, activity, strife and synthesis, these are the nature of the Lord of the first constellation, Aries, and enable him to influence our planets to these results. And what is the goal and purpose of Aries? Well, Aries is the creator of those activities, conditions, and processes which lead to the manifestation of soul through the medium of form, and later of those higher creative undertakings which lead in due time to the manifestation of spirit through the soul. Aries initiates divine ideas from the mental plane. The first impulse is awakened in Aries, for Aries is the place where the initial idea to institute activity takes form. Hence, the significance of the key word of the sign Aries to the soul and to the initiate. I come forth, and from the plane of mind I rule. Aries is the birthplace of divine ideas. Whether these ideas are souls brought into incarnation, or whether they are the birth of the ideas of God in the form of the hierarchical plans to which the initiate becomes sensitive. Aries initiates the cycle of manifestation. Aries awakens the will to reach the lowest and there control, to know the uttermost and thus to face all experiences. Thus runs an ancient statement. So the ram leads us into the creative life of earth and into the darkness of matter. The whole creation is the result of our logoic, directed and controlled thought, a process of sustained thinking which sweeps all the creative energies into evolutionary and cyclic activity in conformity to the pattern which he internally visualizes. God thought, God visualized, God spoke, and the world was made and is sustained. The planetary logos formed and informed the world by his thought and holds all together within his mind for the many, many eons of manifested existence. And what is the purpose of our planetary logos for creating the earth? What did he have in mind? Well, the Lord of the world, through meditation, is carrying forward processes which he instituted in his original creative meditation back in the darkest night of the time, when he decided to create this planet of ours for strictly redemptive purposes. And who are his agents? He organized a group which is responsive to his meditative intention, and that mysterious group called the reflecting lights. The members of this group are extra-planetary. These beings aid him by their concentrated and realized purpose to bring into our planetary livingness certain extra-planetary energies which are needed to carry forward the planned work of our Logos. They focus cosmic creative energy, thus making it available on demand to the members of the council chamber at Shambhala. They are the helpers of the Lord of the world and implement his purposes as they are formulated by him on the cosmic mental plane. They wield the law of synthesis and hold steadfastly in the universal mind of the Logos, the ultimate result of the divine will to good. Another group of creative thinkers are the Nirmanakayas, or the inspired contemplatives. They receive impressions from Shambhala in relation to the planetary creative purpose. They are a channel for the inflow of ray energies from Shambhala into hierarchy. They are, in a peculiar sense, the creative agents of life as it streams forth from Shambhala into all the aspects, areas, kingdoms, and fields of manifestation. And this they are enabled to do through sustained, concentrated, intensive, and dynamic meditation. And the third group of creative thinkers are us, the new group of world servers. And the creative meditation of our group has for its objectives the creation of the new civilization and of the new world order. So Dike tells us that we have therefore three major groups of thinkers and three other groups of intensive creative thinkers. All of these groups responsible for and also dedicated to the comprehension of the divine purpose as it works out through the spiritual hierarchical plan. Behind all these groups, friends, implementing the purpose of our planetary logos, lies the influence and the originating impulse from Aries. For Aries, as we saw earlier, is the place where the initial idea to institute activity takes form. It's the birthplace of ideas, and a true idea is in reality a spiritual impulse taking form, subjective and objective. So 3 times a year at the April, May and June festivals, there is a united hierarchical meditation led by the Christ. These festivals are invocative of Shambhala, or of that which lies beyond the Nirmanakayas, and can only be safely carried forward in united meditation, under directed guidance and the highest possible inspiration. So at the Aries full moon, the Christ, leader of the forces of light, directs the spirit of resurrection. And who is he? He is an extraplanetary living spiritual entity, a life-giving spirit, a member of Shambhala. He is the chosen emissary of hierarchy. He is the Son of righteousness, who now can arise with healing in his wings. The spirit of resurrection, under the direction of the Christ, guides the forces of restoration, to hierarchy, who then releases the potency of the spirit of resurrection in the hearts of men everywhere. This spirit of resurrection is the opponent and the antagonist of the spirit of death. Psychologically, mankind has been ruled by selfishness, and selfishness is the potent seed of death. Material death, psychological death, and mental death. But the work of the angel of death will give place to that of the spirit of resurrection. What does the spirit of the forces of restoration do? It carries this life-giving energy which counteracts death, this vision which gives incentive to life, and this hope which can restore all nations. It restores livingness to men's spiritual aims and life to their planning. It engenders anew the vitality needed to implement the trends of the new age. It guides humanity out of the dark cave of death, isolation, and selfishness into the light of the new day. The spirit of resurrection directs the forces of restoration who evoke response from the new group of world servers and disciples everywhere. As their psychological morale stiffens and their will to live and their will to good is strengthened, an immediate effect will be felt on a larger scale. So it's this resurrection life which will be poured into humanity at Easter time. What are the effects of the spirit of resurrection in the forces of restoration? They stimulate people to be forward-looking and to hope with greater conviction and courage for a better world set up. Their wishful thinking and their emotional desire are slowly giving place to a more practical attitude. Their clear thinking and their fixed determination are far more active and their plans better laid, because both their thinking and their planning are today based on facts. They are also beginning to recognize those factors and conditions which must not be restored. And that's a point of major importance, says DK. At least the mental body provides the discrimination to recognize the factors that must not be restored. So, in summary, the forces of restoration at the Aries full moon restore the will to live and the will to good. Restore psychological health and morale. And the forces of restoration implements the resurrection of humanity from the death cycle through which it has been passing. The restoration of men's mental condition to a wholesome and happier approach to life is the primary objective. And these forces will bring about the emergence of the new civilization, which is definitely men's creative work. So let's pause for a minute and let's reflect on this important statement that DK gave us. These forces of restoration are concerned with human vision, human integrity, and human relations as they underlie the entire problem of the brotherhood of men. How do they restore our vision, our integrity? And strengthen human relations by giving us life. Life-giving energy, like a boost of power. So let's visualize our lighthouse, symbol of our united soul group, standing strong and detached in the middle of our garden, as Master DK at the summit pours the regenerative Aryan waters of life, restoring the will to good in the heart of every blade of grass, every flower, every lotus, every tree, and every molecule of water and of air of our garden. Feel that life-giving energy imbuing our garden. So now let's make use of our garden by visualizing the flow of unconditional love or the will to good emanating from the triangle, the avatar of synthesis, the spirit of peace, and the Buddha, powering the Christ at the center. And superimpose the radiating triangle on the soul triangle, consisting of the Christ, Master DK and the healing ashram, and our soul group. See it very clearly in your mind, these two triangles fusing and blending to form one triangle. And then superimpose these two blended triangles on our group chakric triangle, vitalizing it, comprised of the group crown chakra, our group ajna, and our group alta major, bringing the energies of the will to good right down to the etheric level. And now directing the dispelling radiance within our triangle via our group ajna, right eye, left eye triangle. Place the blended triangle, impressing it over the 3 planetary centers triangle, London, Geneva, and New York. See the will to good penetrating all the countries through the 3 planetary centers, especially those at war now. And say the healer's mantra aloud in a low voice, saying it slowly and deliberately as you believe in the results. May the love of the one soul, focused in this group, radiate upon you, our fellow men, and permeate every part of your body, healing, soothing, strengthening, and dissipating all that hinders service and good health. And may they think clearly and fight for a better world, a new world order of harmony, brotherhood, and right human relations. And just like the Christ does daily standing under the great pine tree in his garden at sunset, with his hands uplifted in blessing over all those who truly and earnestly seek to aspire, let's picture a great pine tree in our garden, and let's gather around the Christ, Master DK, and the healing ashram under this pine tree, saying the great invocation together as one group. The great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth, and see a stream of light coming down towards the earth. From the point of love within the heart of God. Let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. And visualize a stream of love pouring down on earth. And let your blue om carry the intent of love. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. And see a stream of will to good pouring down on earth from Shambhala, bringing life to men. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Raise your clasp hands above the head and say, and so let it be, and help us do our part. Now bring them down to your forehead and let them rest on your heart. May the blessing of the Christ and of hierarchy rest upon all true servers, and may they stand tranquil in the midst of strife. And may the light of the garden of our souls be on the inner plane, what the sun is to the gardens of the world, a place of restoration of the divine will to good in the hearts of many. Thank you, friends, for joining us today. Prior to the full moon, and linking up with DK. Happy Easter to all of you. And may the life-giving force of the Spirit of Resurrection and the forces of restoration be with you and enliven you.